Hey, everybody. Hey, it's Jesse. Sorry about the technical difficulties here. Comcast is a fantastic company. You know what? I'll cut them some slack. They're probably dealing with a lot now. Let's be nice to Comcast. Right now. So we're just waiting to get everybody back into these watch parties and get all the folk that wanted to be watching. So to give us just a second, and we will get this show started. Thanks for tuning in. We will get going in just a minute.
Go. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Do I look great? I'm here. I'm kidding. Normally when you guys are here for our comedy shows, this is the part of the show where you go crazy. For me, your host, Skip Bacon. And it is also one of the things I realized last week when we hosted this is that every comedian at the end of their set, they always go, let's give it up one more time and bring your host up here, Skip Bacon. And everybody goes crazy. And that may be why I host open mics, actually. I've started to realize. Really missing that. So if you're in my Facebook watch party, that's what I need today. And maybe also a little bit more confidence in me as a person lately is what I've been looking for. Those of you that don't know, I am what you loosely term a Catholic theologian, and what that means is that I endured 7 years of theological training, preparing me to think and talk about God and church stuff professionally as a type of church minister. And the question I've been getting lately is, bet that wasn't an essential job, was it? Well, it is an essential job, and I am still employed, thanks for nothing, nobody. But you know what? I don't know why. I don't know why I'm confused when people are like, I don't even know, is that a real job? But because my own mom didn't approve of this whole church job deal. Because, well, my mom's just one of those SoCal stoner hippies with a real screw the establishment kind of attitude. Jesse knows. So when I was 12 and I told her I was going to go into church work, what she heard was that I was going to become a militant lesbian nun. That was the very first thing she heard. Obviously not what I said. And so her first response to me was, if God had wanted you to become a nun, he wouldn't have given you such fabulous tits. Have you ever seen a nun with tits like that? As she gestures at my 12-year-old body, sporting what was admittedly, though, a really nice set of double Ds on a preteen, but according to my mom, only women with small, humble breasts are called by God. And I literally didn't fit that mold. Side note, also, I spent a good deal of my childhood obsessing over the blessed bosoms of Benedictine nuns. Like, I've never seen a nun's face. I would just see her stare directly into her breast and be like, oh, yeah? That's what God's into, huh? Okay, cool. And it was due to this childhood obsession and my mom's strong insistence that I was what she called too gifted in the flesh to go into church work that I actually ended up spending a lot of time in my dad's church where they don't have nuns constantly causing me to contemplate the correlation between cup size and a calling from God. And it was, are we going to get better? Yeah. Do I look better now? No. And it was actually in my father's church where I became ordained as a minister. And this is where my dad's support, or I don't know, maybe it's entertainment with my ministry choices comes into play. Because it was like my dad, because my little brother, when I became ordained as a minister, my little brother asked me to preside at his wedding, which I felt very honored to do for Jack Bacon. And this is where my dad's support, I don't know, maybe it's my entertainment with my ministry choices comes into play, because like my dad had been waiting his whole life for this exact moment. My dad sent an email out to everyone we have ever, like my preschool teacher, Mrs. B, got this email. And the email was pure clickbait. There was no content, just a subject line that read, "Proud father, daughter Mary's son." So my dad is super supportive of my work in ministry, but it really creeps me out. Not like childhood nun breast obsessed creepy, but it really bothers me. But I like my work. I like my work in ministry, but it can be a little weird, though, because there are two things that people ask you about all the time. One is obvious, super obvious. They want to talk about their faith lives. But second, and super less obvious, they want to talk about their sex lives. And if there is one thing that the church is woefully unqualified to talk about, nay, give advice about, it is sexuality. And you want to know how I know they are unqualified, guys? Because they can't even handle Christ nipples. Okay, stick with me on this. 82, upwards of 80% of crucifixes, you know those little crosses with a lifeless corpse of Jesus hanging from them? Well, 80% of those Jesuses do not have nipples, okay? Think about it. You're thinking about his body right now, right? He's always super ripped. He's got like mad abs, even if they've had to draw them on there. His calves always look real good and real defined. Oh, don't even get me started about the Jesus thighs. And people are always like, oh yeah, but Skip, back in the Jesus' day, they like had to walk everywhere. So he would have had really good calves. And they had like a really good diet, so his abs would have been super ripped. What did the sands of the desert wipe his nipples off? He would have had nipples. And all I'm saying though is if you find the nipples of a recently murdered Jewish man to be so over-sexualized that you had to remove them from crucifixes, then you don't get to give me sex advice. That's all I'm saying. And I talk about this a lot. I know I mention Christ nipples a lot, but as a lady and a Catholic theologian who has currently found herself with a lot of time on her hand, I have decided to take it upon myself to help bridge this gap. So I am starting what we are going to call a doctorate in Christian sexuality, okay? So one of the first things that we have to do, you guys can help me with this tonight, one of my first assignments is actually to title my thesis in Christian sexuality. So I have some running titles that I'm working on right now. So I'm going to run these by you guys. You guys can submit some more if you'd like to, and we can go over them at the end of the show. But here are some of the ones that we're currently working on. So we are working on titles for a doctoral thesis in Christian sexuality. Title number 1, Our Father in Fellatio, Take and Eat of My Flesh. You guys can vote on these. I can't see the horror in your faces, but usually when you're here, it's pretty grossed out. The Son's Sacred Erections and Prophetic Wet Dreams. That's one of my favorites. Also grosses the crowd out usually. The Climax of Christianity, The Virgin and the Vulva. Love saying the word vulva, so I hope some of you vote on that one. The very last one for your consideration tonight, Missionary. Not just a position in the third world. So those are the ones we're working on now. Patricia had submitted some, and Helika had submitted some, so I'll go through those at the end of the night and kind of see where this doctoral thesis is going to take me. Should be fun thing to do in quarantine, read about the Virgin's vulva. Okay, in the meantime, though, I have some other comedians lined up for you tonight. I'm sure you'd be going crazy if you were here right now, but I'm going to bring up your next comedian. Are you guys ready? I'm assuming you are for Xander Beltran. Is he ready? Here he comes.
What's good? We are live and direct, straight out of quarantine for a little bit of social distancing comedy. Oh shit, we got it on lockdown, boy. Who's in the house? Nobody except me and my 25 roommates. Hey. All right, let's get started. So my name is Alexander Beltran, but I go by Xander or Zany B, Zanzibar, Xanadu, Xanthrax, X Factor, Triple X, or at Starbucks. I'm Andrew Tanner Zach Chatter Scott. I don't know what it is about my name. Everybody that meets me wants to give me a nickname. I get nicknames for every person that I meet. My nickname for football in high school was Zoolander. My mom likes to call me Zan Man. My dad loves to call me Lazy. Yeah, I don't know what it is about my name. Something about my name. Fat Fuck is actually the most popular nickname. That one's really trending right now. A little bit about me. I'm half Mexican and half German. So I'm Beaner Schnitzel. Like, I'll blow up your country and then offer to clean it up right afterwards. The hardest thing about looking this white and feeling Mexican is I'll experience white privilege and then Mexican Catholic guilt about my privilege. Like the other day I was driving my car and I rolled through a stop sign and I saw a cop and I was like, fuck, I'm gonna get a ticket. Then I was like, wait a second, no, I'm not. And then it was just hours in the confessional working through that pain, a lot of guilt there. It's interesting, my grandparents on both sides are from other countries, Mexico and Germany. And they're kind of interesting to talk to. My German grandmother is actually really interesting to talk to because she says everything like it's a secret. So she'll like just be telling you like she went to the store to grab grapes, right? And she'll be like, okay, yeah, so earlier today I went to the store and I got some green grapes and I went home and I had myself a little snack. Yes, I did. I was like, okay, Grandma, that's pretty normal. But the main thing that's funny about it is all she ever does really is watch the news. So she always tells me stuff that's going on as if she's the only one who knows about it. The other day she called me, she's like, oh my God, Sandra, I don't know if you've heard, but the whole country is on lockdown. It's all on quarantine. Yeah, no one's going to work. Everybody's stuck at home. Don't say, don't let everybody know I told you, but, don't go outside, okay? I was like, girl, I already know about all this. My Mexican grandma's a little different. It's hard to talk to her because she is rapidly losing her hearing. Yeah, she's basically deaf. And the hard part about that is telling her bad news. That's the hardest part because I have to say it over and over and over again, Like I was at dinner at her house and she's like, Mijo, where's your girlfriend? And I was like, oh, we broke up. No big deal. We broke up. She's like, oh, okay, so we'll see her at another party. She's busy. She's doing something else. I'm like, no, Grandma, we're not together anymore. We broke up. She's like, oh, okay, so I'll see her at the next function. I don't know why I'm even fussing. And I'm like, no, Grandma, we're not together anymore, okay? I pushed her away. I was emotionally distant. I know I do it every time. And she's like, oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. It's hard to communicate. This quarantine is getting a little crazy. I'm like almost out of money, pretty much out of my rations. I've just been making weird pastas out of whatever's in my pantry. And I gotta say, the pears and syrup do not pair well with black olives. Don't do it. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work for you. The worst thing about this quarantine is everybody's so bored, all they're doing is calling or reaching out to me. And I have no fucking stories to tell. My mom called me twice in one day. I was like, what do you think happened between me putting on sweats and me taking off my sweats and putting on basketball shorts? Nothing else has happened. Nothing has happened. Yeah, Trump is thinking about reopening the country. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I think it's a bad idea. I think everybody's going to get sick if we all go out and interact with each other. Trump is a terrible president, man. Trump is such a bad president that during that Iran World War III crisis, I had friends that were Team Iran. I had friends of mine that were like, bro, Iran's gonna get you, Trump. Fucking watch out, dude. It's like, bro, that's not where we're at. That country is ran by a supreme leader. You don't want a supreme leader. You want a country with checks and balances, that works properly, like ours. Yeah, the weirdest thing to me about dictators is I don't think anybody ever plans on becoming a dictator, right? Like, there aren't like little kids, there's not 7-year-old boys in their room listening to records of Mussolini, you know what I mean? Looking at posters of Adolf Hitler, fawning over it, calling their mom, be like, Mom, when I grow up, it's going to be terror and bloodshed. I think this is just a happenstance, right? It's just guys are in the military, right? And they rise to the ranks and become generals, right? And then their side of the war wins. And then they're like, well, this guy led us through the war. Why doesn't he lead our country? I don't know, probably because his main mode is violence. And that's all they ever do. They always just do terrible things. Every single time someone becomes a dictator, they're a complete and utter piece of shit. Which is crazy to me because you have absolute power, right? Why is nobody having fun with that? How's there never been a fun dictator? Right? Not one guy's like, dude, you know what? Guess what? No more fucking cars. Unicycles only, bitch. Get to work that way. You know what I mean? Nobody's having fucking fun with it. I'd make everybody in the country dye their hair pink. That'd be hilarious, dude. In voting booths, if you still had them, we'd have people do a bump of cocaine, you know, to see how they really feel. If I was in charge, we would do Pizza Fridays. As a country, we would eat pizza together. And if you're lactose intolerant, sucks to be you, dude. Learn how to eat, bro. If I was in charge of the country, people that say living the dream, when you ask them how they're doing, that'd be punishable by death. Yeah, punishable by death. People that microwave fish in the office, that would also be punishable by death. Fuck. I've only been a hypothetical dictator now for about 20 seconds, and I've already killed 2 people. I guess power does corrupt all. I'm Xander Beltran. Thank you.
Okay, give it up one more time for Xander Beltran. If you would like to, you can see on the screen there, if you'd like to support some of our comedians tonight, you can support Xander on his Venmo, Xander-Beltran, or follow him on Twitter, Beltran_Xander. Presumably, that's an underscore. I think it is. Thank you so much, Xander, for sending that in. You can tell your mom you did do something today. You were on a comedy show. Moms love that, right? They're so proud of us, right? Okay, anyway, I'm gonna bring up the next comedian while I contemplate whether or not my mom loves me, and you guys are gonna love her. Is she ready? She's totally ready. There's a person there. For those of you who weren't here last time, there's a person there. It's not just like how I find information. She's also not actually here. But you guys are going to get to see the lovely Lindy West.
Hey guys, I'm Lindy West, and I love chickens. I love chickens so much that I was once the farmer of 50 of them. That's right, 50. It's a fucking lot of chickens. And like any proper chick pimp, I was quite the protector of my flock. And one night when I was closing up the coop, I saw something in my peripheral outside of the door, and I looked over and I was like, holy shit, that's a coyote. And I turned to face this ferocious beasticle, and all I could think of was like, what would Marty Stauffer do? And I can tell by the silence on your end of the camera that you have no freaking clue who Marty Stauffer is. He was the host of a show called Wild America. They actually made a movie about him and his brothers, starring teen heartthrobs Devin Sawa and Jonathan Taylor Thomas, aka JTT. He was basically Nat Geo and the Discovery Channel before they were even channels. It's actually amazing that he's not popular, considering how Bob Ross is a new thing for hipsters, because like he had a beard and wore knit sweaters all the time. Anyways, back to the coyote. So I'm facing him and I'm like, Marty Stauffer might tell me to establish dominance and show that I'm alpha. So I kicked up a dust cloud and circled my spot. And then I dropped chow and I started to pee while I mean mugged that pup. And it worked, you guys. That coyote went and told his pack about my message of dominance, and they didn't fuck with my chickens no more. And that day I learned a valuable lesson in how to really make things like disappear. Recently, sorry about my camera skills. Recently I went on a girls' night out at a tiny bar in a tiny town, and we were going to do some karaoke. In order for me to do karaoke, I have to consume a certain amount of alcoholic beverages. So fast forward, set level of inebriation was achieved, and me and my girlfriends were having a really fun time when this guy rolls in on a rascal scooter. And I immediately went up to him and put my hands on his handlebars and drunkenly said, "Your scooter is #life goals. Would you steal Nana's hover round? You taking her Jazzy for a joyride?" And he said, "No, I can't feel my legs." That's just how I like to break the ice for most conversations. But Rascal and I started talking, and he was telling me about how he's a really hard time on the dating scene. And so I said to him, you know, there is a dating website for paraplegic people such as yourself. And he said, no, I didn't know that. But how did you know that? I was going to go skydiving, you guys. Thought I'd do a little bit of research, explore all my options, you know, on the what could happens. Anyways, I found this website and it's called Disabled Singles, but it's one of those websites where you have to give a lot of your information to get past the banner to go into the website, so I couldn't really see what it was all about. So I figured this site would probably benefit from a good jingle or a nice slogan, you know, something like "Disabled Singles, rolling you back into the dating scene," or "Disabled Singles, handy-capable coupling." I know, I got one more terrible one for you. Disabled Singles, because we know your heart still has feelings. Yeah. I actually told all those jingles to Rascal, and he thought they were really funny. In fact, he started taking quite a liking to me that night. He started getting really handsy, like he was trying to get MVP in a hardcore game of grab ass. He even rolled over my foot twice on purpose, like the really strange way of flirting, and he was making me really uncomfortable, and I just wanted him to leave me alone. So I kicked up a dust cloud, and then I circled my spot, and then I dropped trowel and I started to pee while I mean mugged him.
That was the end of that set. Oh, I wasn't ready. I get to listen today on my little headset here. I didn't get to listen last time. I actually can't remember since meeting Frank the Tank the last time that someone sang during their sets. I wish I could have known that was coming. But not only should you send Lindy some... Oh, wait, her Venmo's not on there? Is her Venmo on there? Her Venmo's not on there. Because there was singing and comedy in one act, you should send some Venmo money the Stab way. It's Stab Theater on Venmo. Nailed it that time. One of these times I'm going to just show you there's an actual person sitting over there. I think I'm starting to look a little crazy. But you can also follow Lindy West on Twitter at WestyLind. Oh, it's like they try to make this hard for me to do. So anyway, also, does everyone else remember Marty Stauffer? Do you remember Marty Stauffer? No, Marty Stauffer, he was played by Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Okay, I digress, but I loved Marty Stauffer. I totally know who that is. I think Lindy and I should be friends. But in the meantime, I'll bring up another friend. Are you guys ready? I know you're ready. It's the internet. Okay, get her ready. She's ready. I can see her face. She's totally ready. Give it up for Lauren Harsh.
Submission for the social distancing comedy showcase. One of my friends from college is named Laura Marsh. I decided that if we ever got married, we would handle the last name thing in the way that would be the biggest pain in the ass to everyone. I'd be like, no. Laura Marsh Harsh is my wife. I'm Lauren Harsh Marsh. Try to keep up. I don't even know if that's an option, but I'd invent it. I am non-binary, which means that no matter who I'm into or who's into me, it's at least a little bit gay. So when we're done with all this and can leave our houses again, it will probably be full-on catcalling season. I think my canned response will be, "Excuse me, sir, I'm not a woman, so you being interested in me makes you gay." Maybe you'll leave me alone. Maybe you'll murder me. Who knows? I'm a freelancer, which currently means I don't, strictly speaking, have a job. But before, it meant that I could say that I don't have a real job, but if anyone else did, I would cut them. I was doing French tutoring, freelance writing, and comedy gigs. Most of those things have dried up due to the virus. So on forms that ask me for my occupation, I just write millennial. I went down a research rabbit hole about l'Académie Française. For those of you who don't know what that is the institution that decides on the rules for the French language. I decided I want to be the first non-native speaker to join. Now, that's not actually possible, but I think it might be the only way to find out what actually goes on there. You see, it's one of those institutions that's sort of hidden in plain sight. You can look up who the members are, that's public information, and we know that they update the dictionary every so often and occasionally make a statement letting everyone know that they have no intention of changing anything about grammatical gender. But other than that, they don't really know what goes on in the meetings, which on its own isn't that strange, but there's some other information that makes me kind of wonder. Like, it's existed since 1635. There are 40 members at any given time. 9 have been women, 4 of which are current members. They didn't have their first black guy until the 80s. And once you're in for life, unless you are a literal Nazi or don't do a sufficient job kissing your predecessor's ass when you're inducted. But being a known pedophile is fine. They have one of those. And the members call themselves les immortels. Like they're just walking around like, oh yes, because I make the rules, I am immortal. Like, could that be any more extra? And when they get inducted, the immortals are issued a tricorn hat, an elaborately embroidered jacket that costs thousands of euros, and a sword. These are academics. What the hell are they going to do with a sword? I thought the pen was supposed to be mightier than that. So, like, basically, does this or does this not sound like the Illuminati? Like, it gets me thinking, like, are they secretly rigging elections? How many people have they collectively murdered and swept under the rug? And frankly, I think that the Francophone world and the Anglosphere alike need to get to the bottom of this. So what I'm saying is my podcast about l'Académie Française conspiracy theories goes live next week. I am on the spectrum. There are a lot of stereotypes about us autistic people that have no basis in reality. Like that we can't make friends, that we're all either 8-year-old boys or asshole math teachers, that it's better to get polio than to be one of us. But there's one that I've found to be true 100% of the time. We like trains! And honestly, can you blame us? I mean, trains are so cool. I've missed riding the train so much ever since we've been in shelter in place, because I take the train everywhere. Because you don't have to do anything. They take you where you need to go. When I was in France, I rode the TGV. That's their really fast train. Yeah, train of grand speed. And then, yeah, that was cool. We need high-speed trains like that in this country. Oh my God, I just love trains so much. What was I talking about again? Oh yeah, that's right. I've been Lauren Harsh, and I hope I didn't harsh your vibe.
Lauren Harsh, everybody. Obviously, if you want to check out her podcast, talk more about trains, or just check in on her well-being, you can do so on her Twitter, which is @HarshLauren. Send her some Venmo, also @HarshLauren. You can check in on her, listen to her podcast, talk about trains. I would be down for that. God, that was more energy than I've expended all week. Fantastic. I love it very much. Thanks, Jesse, for saying you also liked Marty Stauffer. I can't be the only one. I don't think I had a crush on him, though. Like, he was an older guy, right? No, but I had a crush on Jacques Cousteau. Do you guys remember? Am I saying that right? Jacques Cousteau? Whatever. I had a crush on him, too. I didn't realize how much of my childhood crushes revolved around wildlife. Oh, except for my first crush. He was a fox. The one from Robin Hood, the fox version, whatever. Okay, I think we're digging in too deep to this, so I'm just gonna bring up your next comedian. If you guys are ready, I will bring up your next comedian. And we've been talking a lot about names tonight, so everybody having harder names or getting different names like Xander, so please don't be too harsh on me if I am awful at Valerie's name. She is not here to tell me I'm saying it right or wrong. So give it up for Valerie Benavenga. We're gonna say Benavenga. Yeah, let's give it up.
Hello, welcome to closet recordings, because I am in a closet, because I think it's acoustically better, but the floor is squeaky, so I have no idea. Yeah, here's a song about parenting. I'll admit I'm stressed, the world feels like such a mess, soon we'll be sheltered in place. Actually, we're called to shelter in place today, so that's happened. And I can't even touch my face, wash my hands so much they're dry. Social media has gone awry, not 6 feet under but apart, and I think this is only the start. So hey, let's social distance together. Would you like to watch another freezer too. I'll survive quarantine with you. Hey, hey, hey. Quarantine with you. Hey, hey, hey. Quarantine with you. Hey, hey. Quarantine with you. Hey, hey. Okay. I have another song. I live in Seattle, and I've lived here for over a year, which gives me the right to complain about things. And that's what this song is. Okay. I really love my dog and walking her at Echo Beach. I don't understand why she has to be on a leash. And that's not the worst of it that really ruined my day. I can't bring my dog into the cat cafe. I thought living in Seattle would at least have this perk, but apparently I can't wear an active wear to work. You find me on Tinder, don't assume what I'm like. I say I love the outdoors, but don't frickin' take me on a hike. Sure, alright, we have beer and we have wheat, but is it all organic? Because that is what I need. Hey, Seattle, all you do is such a pain. Easy to be evergreen if all you do is rain. Seattle rain, Seattle rain. Easy to be evergreen if all you do is rain. Seattle rain, Seattle rain. Impossible to make friends here, didn't you know? You still have to talk when shopping at Trader Joe's. Sometimes I think I should just move away. Some breweries only have 8 different types of IPA. I just wish the weather would be everything it's not. Yesterday was too cold, today is too hot. Life in Seattle is so difficult, you see. Amazon is right here, where's my next day delivery? Sure, we have beer and we have wheat, but is it all organic? Because that is what I need. Hey, Seattle, you're such a pain. Easy to be evergreen if all you do is rain. Seattle rain, Seattle rain. Easy to be evergreen if all you do is rain. Seattle rain, Seattle rain.
Oh my gosh, give it up for Valerie. I thoroughly enjoyed that. So did the internet. Thank you, Valerie. I really loved Valerie. Super into Valerie. We're gonna reach back. I'm definitely gonna reach out to her. That lady's hilarious. Follow her on Twitter, V Benti, VBENTTI, and Venmo her some money. She wrote those songs for us. I think that's amazing. Give her some money on Venmo at Valerie dash Benti, BENTI. Oh, it's on the screen. I don't need to spell this shit for you guys. It's on the screen, obviously. She was great. I loved that. Thank you so much, Valerie. I hope you can hear this. Super glad you did that for us. I love ukuleles. Also a huge fan of Dustin Everett, who I guess just joined. Jesse Smith, Dustin Everett, thank you so much for tuning in from Monrovia. Tell Mom I said hi. In the meantime, I'm going to bring you up another comedian. I don't know if there's music in this. I mean, at this point, I can only hope it's all music. This is going great. Oh, I'm going to feel really bad if he doesn't have any music. Oh, it's Jesse Rivera. That's who it is. You're going to love Jesse. Last time there was a puppy. So here's Jesse Rivera.
Is this thing recording? Is it? No. Is this? Oh, hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Jesse Rivera, and thank you for tuning in to this virtual open mic brought to you by Stab Comedy Theater on Broadway. Yeah, man. Just like you, just like everybody else, I'm going a little bit crazy in the stir right now. Haven't left the house in a couple days. Got enough supplies though, but I went to the grocery store just the other day, and here's one thing that has not changed. Mexicans are still coming to the grocery store with every single one of their kids. You'd think they'd leave them home not to catch the coronavirus. I don't know what's going on at white grocery stores, but at Mexican grocery stores, Mexicans are still bringing every single one of their kids with them to the grocery store. But enough about the grocery stores. In my neighborhood, though, seen a lot of great things in my neighborhood. With all of the kids being off school and being home, I'm seeing people from all over the neighborhood pitching in and helping out. And it's heartwarming. I love seeing the community come together to help each other out. In my neighborhood, the neighborhood tweakers are coming around to houses and they're teaching kids how to build stuff like out of old pieces of aluminum foil. They will take aluminum foil, they will unroll it, they will iron it, and they will put something together like Legos. Like aluminum foil is like Legos to tweakers. Who else is helping out in my neighborhood? The weed dealers in my neighborhood, they are going around and they are helping set up community gardens all over the neighborhood. And for a small fee, they will help you set up a community garden in your garage. Isn't that crazy? They'll help set up a garden in your garage. They'll bring all the lights, like an irrigation system. It's so complicated. I don't know, but now I have a garden in my garage. Free of charge. I just got to talk to him in a few weeks about some kind of trade. The winos, the neighborhood drunks, they're going around and they have afternoon storytelling with the children. Yeah, storytelling. Who knew drunks were such good at storytelling? I didn't. Man, one thing I'm kind of worried about is seeing all these poor parents. Oh, dude, hey, let's give it up to all the single people with no children, right? Can you think of a better time to be single and not have any kids than right now, right? Oh my goodness. I'm worried about some of these parents still being home all this time with their kids. Like, I'm seeing some crazy shit. Like, I'm seeing like parents trying to like vote kids out of the house like Big Brother style, like forming alliances and everything. But hopefully none of the kids will get kicked out of any houses. Maybe they'll just learn how to act right before their parents have to do that, right? I called my grandma the other day. My grandma is 93 years old, and I was a little bit worried about her, right? Because, I mean, this coronavirus is, it's affecting the old people, right? But also, like, I didn't want her to worry about me because you know how grandmas worry. So I called my grandma the other day. She's 93 years old, folks, 93 years old. And I said, hey, grandma, you know what's going on with the virus? You're not worried? Are you scared? Do I have a booger? I don't. I don't know why I checked halfway through this if I had a booger, but anyway. And I was like, hey, grandma, I'm sure you've heard about the coronavirus. I hope you're not worried about it. And she answered pretty much the way any 93-year-old Mexican Catholic grandma would answer. She was like, oh, mijo, you know, we can't be worried about things because if the good Lord comes calling for us tonight, then we just need to be ready to go because this life is just a gift. And I was like, speak for yourself, old lady. Matter of fact, if the good Lord comes to calling me tonight, I'm going to be like, hey, can you check and see if my grandma's still awake? Because she was saying just earlier today that she's ready to go. So why don't you come a calling her? I'm kidding, folks. I would definitely want her to be asleep if the good Lord came a calling her tonight. Anyway, folks, I'm going to give the rest of the time back to the room. My name is Jesse Rivera, Jesse Rivera Laughs on Instagram. Also follow my podcast, Comic Talk, the podcast on Instagram. And thanks for this opportunity to make people laugh. I hope you laughed. I hope you're taking care of one another. Peace. We'll get through this together, folks. We'll get through this together. Love all y'all.
That's Jesse Rivera, everybody. I told you would enjoy Jesse. He even has a podcast. I even have an episode of that podcast. If after this you're like, you know what I haven't heard in so long, Skip Bacon's voice, check out Jesse's podcast. Mr. Morty the Mortician and I also have a podcast. If you want to check that out, the Die Laughing Podcast. Loving it, Jesse. I don't think non-breeders get enough shout-outs. So thanks, Jesse. Non-breeders, give it up. Everyone else who had kids, yeah, no, thank you. You're gonna be okay. You may not. This is really rough having kids. But if you'd like to check Jesse out, he gave you some of his information, his Twitter, his Instagram. Send him some Venmo at Jesse-Rivera-62. Jesse Rivera, everybody. Check him out. Check his podcast out. He's very funny. I like him very much. Also, just super happy I didn't procreate. Anyhow, enough about how proud I am of myself. We're going to bring up your next comedian. Yes, I think I can say, okay, yeah, I'm bringing up your next comedian. Are you guys ready? Yeah, you're ready. Okay, drink your White Claws and give it up for Jacob Duran.
So when I was a baby, they cut the tip of my dick off. Than it should be. Anyway, in other words, I'm Jewish. Now, in and of itself, that's not funny, but hear me out. I've been around Jews my whole life. and that makes me something of a Jewish expert. So I have one thing to say to all the people who use all the outdated stereotypes about Jews being hairy, short gremlins. All of you people are absolutely right. I come from a long line of short, hairy men, and I am proud of my heritage. What's with all of these slow children at play signs? What made all of our children so fucking slow? I'm not really sure why I sound so angry. I think it's because I've had kind of a rough week. You know, my memory foam forgot me. I got into a fight with an Indian guy, and it turns out that Hindus take beef very seriously. I was on the phone with a customer service rep, and at the end of the conversation, he said, "Thanks for being a customer with us," and I replied, "Thanks, you too." But it hasn't been all bad. A girl did give me her number the other day, so that was nice. But then she yelled at me for screwing up her deli order. Seriously, she asked me out, like telling me I should leave and quit the deli. They shouldn't call them toilet seat protectors because they don't protect the toilet seat. They protect you. They should be called ass cheek protectors. There's this line from Groucho Marx, who, by the way, was a lot funnier than his brother Carl. He said, "I would never be part of a club that would have me as a member." Now that's my philosophy when it comes to dating. Whenever anybody seems interested in me, I'm like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? You're wearing a wire, lift up your shirt." Public service announcement, that line doesn't work. Don't use it, you will get punched in the face. So, a lot of people seem to have a problem with homosexuality, especially the Catholic Church. They say that it's an abomination, that it's a sin, but I think that's kind of a double standard, you know? I'm not really sure why they only have a problem with sodomy with adults. And you know, porn is a really weird concept. It doesn't make sense. I mean, sex is the only base instinct we enjoy watching other people engaging in. Nobody enjoys watching videos of other people drinking water or eating breakfast. And, you know, Pornhub comments are always so much nicer than YouTube comments. YouTube comments are always really mean, and I think that the reason there's a difference is because it's really hard to type angry comments with only one hand. Yeah. So, speaking of porn, I was thinking the other day, because these are the sort of things that occur to me, it would have been really awkward for somebody to have given Stephen Hawking a blowjob. It would be really difficult. Because, you know, I was thinking, if somebody were to offer Stephen Hawking a blowjob, because, you know, if I know one thing about women, and based on prior experience, I definitely don't. And I know how much they love elderly, paralyzed physicists. So, if Hawking wanted to type something out, like he wanted to type out a response and say like, "Yes, just like that, keep going, almost there," he had to type with his eyes. You know, he had to select because he couldn't really use his hands. So when Hawking came and his eyes started rolling, he would just be typing nonsense. He'd be screaming like "Fizzical." That's a bizarre coincidence because that's what I go when I come. So the other day, I saw an ad for a AAA commercial, and they were saying that you can save, or that your subscription could pay for itself because you can save on the services that they give you, like towing your car. And I thought, wow, I've never thought of it that way before. So I went out and I crashed my car a few dozen times, and I saved like 2 years worth of subscription fees. It was great. I got like the mental version of Tourette's. It's not a physical thing. I don't yell out everything that I think, but whenever anybody says anything, I immediately think of the worst possible thing I could say. So the other day I was talking with a blind guy, for example, and I had an impulse to start talking like a 1920s detective. I wanted to end every sentence with "C." And then another time, I was talking with a Vietnam War vet, And this guy had one arm paralyzed, and so I really wanted to yell out, "How's it hanging?" But of course I didn't. But okay, so I've got to end on a serious note. I don't like to do this, but I need to address all of you 9/11 truthers in the audience, because I know there are some of you. A lot of you think that 9/11 was an inside job, but that's nonsense. 9/11 happened almost entirely outside. Thank you, Jacobs.
Oh, is this microphone back on? It is back on. You couldn't hear me laughing literally that entire time. Let me see. Can you see me yet? Nope. Pretty big delay on my phone. So sorry if I ruined every single one of his jokes by posting about his punchlines before they came out. That was really funny. None of his information is on there. We only have his first and last name. So Jacob Duran, I think we should look him up. I think we should definitely have him back. I thought he was hilarious. I'm always surprised a lot of times at open mics when people come out, even though they haven't heard each other's sets and they're not paying attention to anything that's going on up here, there's themes oftentimes. They're almost never good themes. A lot of foot fetishes, a lot of pedophilia nights, those types of things. But tonight it seems like almost everyone has talked a little bit about a church and their beefs with the church. I don't mind this at all. I really like hearing these. Thank you so much for bringing those out. Makes me feel more at home. Makes me feel more at home about how often I talk about Christ's nipples and Mary's vulva, that kind of thing. It just makes me feel better about myself. Thanks for bringing that out, guys. Give it up one more time for Jacob. Woo! I thought he was really funny. I laughed too loud, so we turned this mic off when it's my turn to laugh. So you didn't get to hear me, but I assure you, I was laughing very hard. We only have a couple more comedians left for you. So if you're really enjoying the night, you can jump on your Venmo and send some White Claw money our way at Stab Theater on Venmo. And in the meantime, I'm going to bring up your next comedian, who I'm sure you're ready for. But here he comes, Mr. John Hanford.
What a hell of a crowd. This is great. Yeah, give over yourself. It's wonderful. I'm just going to tell you a fun story and then get out of here. The show will continue. This is a little fact about me. I am an E. coli survivor. Yeah. For those of you who aren't so woke, that means I ate shit and lived. I was 10 years old, and we never learned how I got E. coli, where it came from, because it's there was no recall of romaine lettuce at the time. Chipotle was still in the clear. It's not like I ate shit intentionally either. I could walk into a Cold Stone. Yeah, let me get a waffle cone, 3 scoops of shit, gummy bear on top. Ridiculous. Hey, gummy bears. Anyway, I was in the hospital for a week, just totally bedridden, in a diaper, hooked up to an IV. And so all I could do to pass the time was sleep. And I will say this about the hospital, the best part was the bed, hands down. If you get the chance, get hospitalized. It's the most relaxing shit in the world. Surely on the outside you got Tempur-Pedic, walk around with his dick out. Casper tries to measure up, but no. Hospital bed, that's why the bill's so big. But, so anyway, I'm getting 16 hours of sleep a day. Just, one afternoon the nurse comes in, wakes me up. She says, "Jonathan, you got a couple visitors." And I look, and standing just beyond the nurse, 2 clowns. There's a guy and a lady. The guy starts playing Home on the Range, while the lady just stands there staring and smiling at me and what, you couldn't find a fucking birthday this day? They're just no, we gotta make our money somehow. Let's see the fucking sick kid. He's gonna die anyway. But, gotta get the money, I get it. But, and we didn't learn this until I was discharged, but the hospital said that had I been admitted any later, I likely would have died. And it's one thing to die from eating shit. It's another thing to die from eating shit, and the last thing I get to see are these 2 fucking clowns. That was a traumatic experience. That was a childhood trauma, and those stay with you into adulthood. I consider myself lucky that I never developed a clown fetish, But now that I'm an adult and I eat ass with reckless abandon. Flick it away, continue as it were. I'm not proud of this. I can't advocate for it, wouldn't recommend it intellectually, but sometimes I cave to my base instincts and I get this weird arrogance about my immune system, circa the year 2000, like I gotta one-up my world championship of anal roulette, which is ridiculous. It's not like my immune system was doing so great. The antibiotics did all the work, but I forget that part when I'm down there. But at least we know where I get my shit-eating grin, you know? If nothing else, that's where we can just, you know, if it weren't for that, I don't think it would be the genetics. That's a learned trait. Just eat shit grin. It's wonderful. I've been complimented about my smile many times, especially in like the old folks' homes. Like, that's a weird segue. This is a weird pivot, huh? But like you go to an old folks' home. Like my grandparents lived to be 97 and 100. I'd go visit them, and when my grandma died, and I spoke at her memorial service. I broke down in tears. I was giving a really nice off-the-cuff speech, riffing, doing it again here, and it was wonderful because then I broke down in the middle of the sentence. Some lady calls out, just like, "I want you to speak at my funeral." I've been requested to give eulogies. Like, that's a fucking amazing thing. And if it weren't for this shit-eating grin, I probably wouldn't get that request. Anyway, you guys have been wonderful. I'm John Hanford. Enjoy the rest of the show. Give it up to your host.
He's all done. I thought I was the only one hearing that music playing him off. Thank you so much, Mr. John Hanford, for sending that in to us. I just want to let you guys know that I am also hearing all of these for the first time tonight. This is like a real open mic for me. I've never heard any of these sets, actually. Never heard any of these sets before. Very exciting. So if you are back home and you're thinking about your favorite local comedians and you're thinking, I would love to share them with the world, or you have some really good puns. We have been desperately low on puns lately. Do we have any yet tonight? Music puns, maybe. Anyway, really low on puns. Still haven't gotten anything since Corn Cheese. Gilbert wrote some. Way to go, Gilbert. I'm trying to lift my spirits with puns. So if you've got any comedy you'd like to share and you want to submit a set, you can do it at socialdistancingcomedy@gmail.com. Submit your set. We can get you on up here. Tell your friend who has a set and can't go to open mic anymore that I'd love to see their set. Please do it. Love to hear it. Love to see it. Love to be a part of it. I don't think there's any rules for submitting your open mic or your sets. We usually have one rule here when we have open mic is that you never use this microphone as your penis because you're better than that. But you're at home. Use whatever you want as your penis for this video. I don't care. As long as it's not my microphone, it doesn't bother me. So submit some sets. Love to see what you've got. In the meantime, I have a couple more, just 3 more left for you. So give it up. Get ready for Janelle Murphy. Here she is.
Thank you so much for tuning in from your couch, your bed, and your toilet. Appreciate you all staying sharp and fresh out there. Want to do a special shout out to those that also have turned their plastic water bottles into bidets. It's that type of attitude and innovation that keeps us scot-free. So you're good. You're wonderful. You know, we got a whole production crew.
That's
here.
good.
This is high budget.
That's good. That's good. Keep going.
Special. Shout out to our producers. So yeah, my name's Janelle. But when some people meet me, they get really excited. They're like, "Oh, Chanel, like Chanel No. 5," and I'm like, "Yeah, but like Chanel, the knockoff version." I'm like a designer flea market handbag, but with the self-esteem and class of a sassy gay man. Chanel. crazy time to be in quarantine and single. The number of increased cat ladies is just through the charts. In Cat House. You know, it's so crazy that this isn't even my cat. I stole it. So there's a lot going on. Lot going on right now in the world. I too, lost my job, but before I did, I worked a lot of odd jobs before getting laid off. I was a corn dog lady at a music festival. I was a waitress at Joe's Crab Shack for 6 months, and I was a brand ambassador for Tiffany's jewelry department store. But the weirdest job that I ever had was working in an office, because I never realized how much people sneezed and coughed until we shared the same recycled air. The office... That could really use some laughter. No, you're wonderful. So the office world is so weird to me. Like, people would ask me what I did for work, but I never knew how to answer that question because they told us we defined our job title. So some people would claim data entry, but I would just tell people, I don't know, I copy and paste. That cracks me up. If anything, this is for me and you guys. So there's no place like an office. Like, where else can you go and see 3 people interacting about them both having chicken and rice for lunch? You have chicken and rice? I have chicken and rice. Me too. Chicken and rice. So on another note, I don't know about you guys at home, but I went into quarantine with a list of goals, like learn another language, read a book, and work out. But all I've really done is buy a Nintendo Switch, sext an ex, and lie about coming. It's not me. It's not you. It's me. No, really, it's the notifications on my phone that keeps distracting me. But I was dating prior to quarantine. I was in a relationship. I was dating a musician. And dating a musician is a lot of fun until you realize how exhausting saying no to free cocaine can be. Yeah, I know. It's almost like you need to take a bump just to keep up with saying no. And I don't even do blow. But there are pros and cons to dating a cokehead. Pro, the house is always clean. Con, he's vacuuming at 5:30 in the morning. I did ask him, though, what are the pros and cons to dating a stoner? He said there are none. And I thought about that. I think he's onto something. And that something is stoners don't steal when they run out of weed. They make friends. But one last thing before I go. I did actually try cocaine for my very first time prior to being in solitary home confinement. And I tried cocaine, and I have to say, what a time to have a nasal drip. Thank you all. Thank you so much. My name's Janelle Murphy. It's been a pleasure. Find me on Instagram at Comedian J Murph. You're beautiful. Stay safe. Be well. Thank you.
What? So I was talking to no one that whole time? Give it up one more time for Janelle Murphy. She was amazing. Sometimes I just think I talk loud enough people could have heard me. That's probably not how microphones and the internet work. Sorry about that. So give it up for Janelle Murphy. Just a quick recap of what I did say. We will from here on out only be accepting submissions that include a laugh track, 2 friends very encouragingly watching. One of them has to be a cat. And that laugh track, the entrance music, Janelle, you killed it. Everybody on the internet was loving it. So please follow Janelle on Twitter at comedian J Murph and Venmo that lady some money for how hilarious she is, because that is how money and being funny work. Please find her on Venmo at Janelle-Murphy. That was amazing. I hope she submits a new one next week. I'm sure she will. Please do, Janelle. That was hilarious. Made my night. But this next guy makes a lot of my nights. I love his jokes. Maybe he threw in a pun for me. I don't know if he knew I was going to be here. I hope there's at least one pun. But if there's not, it's going to be a great night anyway, because Mr. David Thorne is hilarious. So give it up for David Thorne, everybody. Here he comes. He's right there.
Hey guys, what's going on? I know it's crazy these days with all the COVID-19 and whatnot. There is one thing that it has done. I mean, it's stopped school shootings for the moment. As I could probably assume, I was introduced. My name's David Thorne. I'm not the only David Thorne. There is another one. He's a author who's verified on Twitter. I was thinking I'm going to get him to write my biography. I'm going to call it David Thorne. This is not an autobiography by David Thorne. I have a interesting conspiracy theory about the reason they have banned straws in California. It's not because of turtles. It's because of felching. If you know what that is, you're a sick bastard. But for those of you who don't, felching is when you have anal sex with someone, ejaculate into their anus, and then slurp the semen out with a straw. People generally use plastic straws for this, and do you know why? Because paper straws suck ass. Do you think that people are non-binary because they're afraid of getting computer viruses? So, since moving to California, I've met a lot of people named Nick. So many Nicks. It's almost like the state cut itself shaving multiple times. So, I like to smoke a lot of weed. I also like to eat a lot of salads. So I want to open a weed dispensary with a salad bar inside of it and call it the Devil's Lettuce. Right next to that, I'm going to open a church. The thing about churches is some people that like to go to church also like to go to the strip club. For those people, I'm going to open a church with a strip club inside of it and call it Thoughts and Playas. Right next to that, since we're in California and we've got to be all-inclusive, I'm going to open a male strip club / barbecue joint called the Smoking Pole. Now, that's going to be beside a drum store / sex shop called Sex Symbols, which is beside Frat Pacino's Coffee House, where they literally roast the coffee. You're no good. Your parents never loved you. You're not special blend. Alright guys, I know what I look like. I know that I look like a hipster Nazi, and I sound like the villain from Roots, but I swear to you, I don't see races. A lot of people where I'm from do see races. My brother saw races, my father saw races, but not me. I fucking hate NASCAR. It's just a bunch of stupid white people making 2,000 left turns. I had a weird dream the other night. I had a dream that I was in a movie with Matthew McConaughey. It was a weird cross between Dallas Buyers Club and Talladega Nights. It was called Rolaids. The plot of the movie was they wouldn't let Matthew McConaughey be a NASCAR driver because he goes, all right, all right, all right. And he has AIDS. I'm from Midtown Sacramento. You know what's in Midtown Sacramento? there's a lot of gay bars. Something that I don't understand is, why do they call gay bearded men bears? I mean, personally, I get it, but I think they could call them something cooler, like lions. You know, because lions have manes, which are basically beards, and they're all about the pride. Something else I don't understand. Do you know those people that wear their sunglasses on the back of their heads like they're trying to protect themselves from tiger attacks, like people in countries that actually have fucking tigers? I've never heard of anybody getting attacked by a tiger in Midtown Sacramento. You're much more likely to get attacked by a bear. I did research on that joke. I googled gay lions, found an interesting article about gay lions in Kenya. I googled gay tigers and found a list of gay animals. I googled gay bears and oh my, nothing but gay porn and bears in my area. Alright guys, that's been my time tonight. I'm going to go ahead and give it back to the only bacon that won't give you heart disease, Skip Bacon! Yeah!
Yay! Is it on? Yeah, it is. It's David Thorne. See? He knows what I want. He knows I want puns. I prefer them to be about some kind of race car, but I'll take any pun, even one that went real dark first. Lots of sex butt stuff, but it was a straw pun, so I'll take it. Thank you, David. I really do love them. I don't know if you guys can tell how happy I am, but I love puns so much. They're so impossible. I don't know how people make them. Like, how did he get there? I don't know. Every day I wake up and think, today I'm going to write a pun, and it's never happened. I only kind of co-authored Corn Cheese, I think. I don't even think that came from me. Where do puns come from? Divine inspiration. Also, I feel like he did talk about church stuff too. Did he talk about church? People have been, tonight is a church night. That'll be our theme for the night. We only have one more comedian left for you. But tonight's theme was definitely church, a little bit of cocaine. You know, the gist. Janelle is winning life right now for everything about her set. Thank you. I guess I'm going to bring up your last comedian, see if he's got any puns for us. Thanks, David. Oh, David, I'm sorry, David. I just assume everyone knows how to find you because I think you're hilarious. You should definitely follow David on Twitter at Southern_reject and Venmo that guy for every pun that he made. You should just give him like enough money to buy a White Claw. Or is that probably what he drinks? He probably drinks White Claw. So send David some money at Venmo at David-Thorn-21. Send that man some money so he can keep making puns. They only get better with time. I've heard that one a million times. I still love it because they go all right. Anyway, you guys get it. I'm gonna bring up your last comedian for the evening. Please give it up for Mr. Germ Leather.
Hey, Germ Leather here. Gonna do a little bit of solitary stand-up for you. Hope everybody's doing okay out there in quarantine town. Anyways, here we go. You know, I once performed stand-up at a casino you weren't allowed to smoke cigarettes at. I remember saying to myself, a casino you're not allowed to smoke in? What's next, a strip club you're not allowed to cry at? Come on, that's ridiculous. I've given it some thought, and if this whole stand-up thing doesn't work out, which clearly it's working out just fine, I'm doing great, but if stand-up doesn't work out for me, I've been thinking of getting into nursing. Yeah, the hard part's finding a pregnant woman willing to let you do it. That's the part I have most trouble with. You gotta shave your beard, because nobody likes a bearded baby, right? Okay, a few of you out there like bearded babies. I see ya. Anyways, any of you people have kids out there? I mean, kids that you're actually related to, not ones dumb enough to get in your van. Couple of hands went down, I saw that. Well, I don't understand why anyone would want to have children, because kids are essentially just pets that will be able to grow up and tell people how fucked up you are. What an awful idea. If my cats could talk, I'd have to kill every one of them because they know too much. They've seen too many things, and I can't afford the therapy if I'm honest. That's another thing. People are always saying, my pets are my kids, my pets are my kids. Really? Have you ever tried to teach a toddler to use a litter box? Have you? You ever tried to teach a cat to wash dishes? They suck at it. It's terrible. It's no fun for anybody. And also, if you're gonna have pets, please stop giving them human names. It just gets confusing for the rest of us. This is my cat, Kevin. No, it isn't. That's ridiculous. This is my dog Susan. Okay, whatever you say. It gets confusing for the rest of us, okay? Because then you say things like, oh, Kevin locked himself out last night. He was outside my room screaming all night long. Dude, get a new roommate. What is wrong with you? That's not your problem just because he lost his keys. You say things like, oh, Susan must have gotten into something. She took a big crap on the kitchen floor. Dude, break up with her. You're not going to get your deposit back. Seriously. I just don't get it. I don't get how people can have pets and name them human names. That is weird. It's not Kevin. It's Mr. Wigglebottom. It's Chairman Meow, but it's no way that's a Kevin. It's just silly. It's just silly is my point. Children are such strange things. My mom really wants me to have kids, and I have to admit, number one, I should not be in charge of a child, obviously. I mean, this is my life. There's my Spider-Man picture. Clearly, I am a child. But my mom wants me to have kids. Like, she's like, oh, Jerem, you've got to have some children. There's just not enough entitled white people wandering around. It's so sad. I have to say, Mom, you're being ridiculous right now. I don't need to be a father. I can't even handle the anxiety I get watching someone else make me a burrito, okay? I'm just like, more sour cream, more cheese. Ah, fuck it. You got to start over. You got to start over. I have to take a Xanax before I go to Chipotle, you guys. Think about that. It's rough. It's pretty damn rough. So my girl and I are kind of freaks. We get into some interesting stuff with our sex life. One of the things specifically is, you know, she screams at me in broken German and I wear a clown suit. Usually that's enough for me, but sometimes we like to mix it up a little. The other night we were having sex. My girl looks back at me and goes, oh yeah, fuck me, Dad. Not Daddy, which for some reason, why is that okay? But she says, oh yeah, fuck me, Dad. And I like cough a little bit. And she must have thought I was into it because she just doubled down, man. She's like, yeah, fuck me, Dad. Fuck me like I got straight A's and you're taking me to a Taylor Swift concert. Ugh, ah. Fuck me, Dad. Fuck me like we're both mad at Mom or we're going to get froyo. Ugh, gross. Fuck me, Dad. Fuck me like I got straight A's and you're taking me to the Grand Canyon. Ugh, gross. Gross. And arousing. Very arousing. Gotta be honest with you. It's difficult in this day and age being a guy. I gotta say something to the men out there, actually. You know, men, just because you buy a woman dinner does not mean she's gotta sleep with you, okay? And women, just because you sleep with a guy does not mean he's gotta buy you dinner. You have to understand that. I love you. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Microphone's back on, and that's give it up one more time for Germ Leather. You can Venmo him at Jackie.Maddox. You can see it on the screen. That's how the internet works. I don't need to keep saying these / spelling them out. Well, no pedophilia jokes, a little bit of incest, tiny bit of cocaine, but we loved it, Janelle, because that cat made it seem also innocent, and plenty of church jokes. Also some Gil's mom. So this has been a great night. This has been a huge win for us. I really enjoyed myself. I hope you all submit. Obviously, Janelle, if you don't submit more comedy, they'll probably just fire me. So make sure you submit some more comedy. David Thorne, if you're working on more puns, could you just roll those my way? I'll be back here on Thursday. John Ross will be back on Sunday, right, for more open mic night, for more social distancing comedy showcases. So make sure you get your comedy in sometime before the middle of the show, Mr. Stephen Ferris. We could have enjoyed some of that tonight. Maybe next time we'll have Mr. Stephen Ferris back on here. But if you'd like to submit a 5-minute new set for consideration, please submit them to socialdistancingcomedy@gmail.com. Please feel free to Venmo the theater since you didn't get to come in and buy any White Claws or pair them nicely with Starburst. Please send some Venmo to Stab Theater. And I think there are more shows coming up too, right? Like this week on Friday, on Saturday,
yeah, so tomorrow we've just got the Stab podcast at 8 o'clock.
Not just, that's an amazing show.
Well, yeah, but it's the only thing. And it's got... Oh, I was trying to remember.
Who's on tomorrow night?
I know Jacqueline Wyan.
Jacqueline's on? We love Jacqueline.
And, a very rare appearance from Mr. Ray Molina on the show as well.
Oh my
so
gosh.
that's going to be a special
Ray
one.
Molina was on my first show I ever got to produce. We're huge Ray Molina fans.
Yeah, so Ray, Jacqueline, myself, John hosting it. Then Saturday we're going to have the Confessions of the Garbage People.
That show tears at my heart a little bit. Yeah.
I think he's still working on. John's still putting together the lineup, but that one should be fun. People come in and have stories of how they've been, not the best during their life. They swap the stories, have another comic read them, and then at the end we figure out whose story was whose.
Yeah, I wrote a story for that show. It got canceled, thank God, because when I wrote that story out, I realized I'd never told that story out loud to any other human and didn't want to. So, but John Ross, I do still have that story if you are still looking for comedians. I guess I can just let it all go now. It's the internet. The world's ending. So there you go. We have plenty of comedy for you. Always tune back in, Venmo back in. That's what we do here. I'm really glad you guys came out. This made my night, made my apocalypse. So glad you're here. Come back and see us for our next event here at Stab Comedy Theater. Thanks, guys. Bye. I think I told you there was somebody there. It's right there. And I barely touched those. I touched this thing a lot, though. I'm not in hypnosis.
That almost stops your heart. You try to scream, oh, but terror takes a sound before you